Hello my YouTube fans, welcome again to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about money and the Bible, financial solutions. When you are in your 20s and 30s, money doesn't seem to matter. But as you touch your 40s and 50s and 60s, you will realize that this is one of the most important subjects that we often neglect. School don't teach you about money, or it doesn't teach you much about money. Sometimes our attitude to money is a big problem as well. Some people think that money is the root of all evil, but it is the love of money that is the root of all evil. And I want to also say the lack of money is also the cause of a lot of evil in our world. The Bible says, "Owe no man anything." Romans 13 verse 8. It says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender." That's Proverbs 22 verse 7. What is the biggest factor destroying our future and many people's lives? It is not the lack of employment, it is not the government, it is not the system, but debt is the destruction to building wealth. Now, God never intended for us to live in bondage, and debt is equivalent to bondage. So we spend all our lives stuck, living on the edge, living from paycheck to paycheck. We are in debt when we are deeply in debt. We live in a world where people are constantly encouraged to get into debt. We are told that we can't go to school without a student loan. We are told that we can't buy a house without a loan. We are told that we can't drive a nice car without a loan. So we borrow money for almost everything. We borrow money to send our kids to college rather than saving for them. We're bombarded too with messages that say we can't live without a loan or without debt. If we have a home with equity, we are enticed to take out a loan on that house, thus putting us and our family at risk. Some of us use our house, our home as or you'd call it a cash machine, a ATM machine. Now, if we cannot pay back the loan when you put a mortgage, a second mortgage, or take out equity by way of a loan, then the house is somebody's else. It will be repossessed. So that house will be gone. So it says, before we know it, those debts starts to weigh us down. That is how debt is. It weighs us down. It keeps us up at night. It causes us to spend more time worrying than praying. And it causes fight in our marriage. Money is one of the main cause of divorce. We work all our lives, and some of us cannot retire with dignity. There's a saying, it says, if there are no debt in our money system, there wouldn't be any money. So money was created out of debt. Now, a simple rule to know is our income versus our expenses. We need to have this knowledge at all times. If your income, for instance, is $4,000 per month and your expenses is $7,000 per month, you are in a deficit. You are in debt. And instead of paying this debt, what a lot of people do is keep piling on top of that debt by borrowing to pay off the debt. And hence you end up with more debt. Example, credit card debt and car loans and payday loans and so on. This, my friend, is the recipe for financial disaster and ruin. And many people have gone down that path and have ruined themselves financially. So when this happens, we are not working for ourselves but someone else. And when we can't pay back the loans, then there is lawsuits, repossessions, foreclosures, garnishments, embarrassment, and it is a miserable life. Now, here are some simple solutions that I think could help, because on this channel we seek to find financial solutions. We should seek to spend less than we make. So if we make $4,000, we should strive to spend $3,500 and save $500 towards investing in our future. Don't leave it to the government. Never leave your life to anyone. You are responsibility. You are responsible for your own life. So take charge of your financial destiny, because nobody else will do it for us. Don't even leave it to the church. As much as the church is God's institution, don't leave your destiny to the church, because many times people give to the church and they are broke. Many times people turn to the church for help and the church turn them away and say, we don't exist to give people money, but we exist to take your money. So you got to be careful. The church is always good at taking but not giving. And I'm not saying it's every church, because many churches care for people in the community and give back to the community, and they are to be congratulated and commended. But there are many churches that don't care about their people. They just go about taking and telling the people to dig deeper in their pockets. And that is no good. You need a church that you can turn to. If 1 month you can't pay your mortgage, you should be able to turn to your church and say, can you help me? Because after all, the church exists to help its people. And many churches don't function like this, and they don't want to hear this message. But the truth is, the church should be able to help people when they are in dire straits, because many of these people have been working over the years and pumping money into the church. So when they are in hardship, the church should seek to assist them. That is my philosophy. Yeah. Now, some other solutions. Pay cash as much as possible for whatever you're buying. Doesn't matter what it is. As long as you can use the cash, don't be afraid to use the cash. Because when you use credit, you are ending up paying for this thing over and over and over and over again, and it's stretched out. And there's a lot of things that can happen when you stretch these things out. You can lose your job and end up can't pay, and you end up in a lot of problem. Pay cash for a car. I have never driven a new car. Yes, I love new car scent, but personally I've never driven a new car because I can't afford it. So most of the time I buy a car is like a disposable car. I drive the car, and sometimes I'm the last owner. When that car is no longer good, I take it to the clunkers, get a $300 for it, and I make up that money and buy another car. And guess what? Most of these old cars, when they are properly maintained and you change your oil and your filter, trust me, they will get you there. And if you want a new car, just buy the new car scent. Buy the new car scent and put it in your car and clean it up nice and be proud of what you have. And don't go putting yourself into misery. Pay cash for your groceries. Pay cash for your furniture. Buy second-hand stuff. Don't be afraid to buy second-hand stuff apart from a mattress. Okay, your mattress must be brand new, but buy second-hand stuff. Go to the Salvation Army, the thrift shop. Don't be ashamed to buy some second-hand furniture. After all, you can beautify them and polish them and let them be clean and nice. So buy second-hand stuff and brand new stuff, or like personal stuff, clothes and those things. I don't wear second-hand, but I will buy a second-hand piece of furniture. Yeah. Now, do without things you cannot afford. As they say, if you can't afford it, it means, if you can't buy it cash, it means that you can't afford it. So, and quit trying to impress people. Nobody gives a rat's ass after the 10 seconds of looking on your beautiful car. After it's gone out of sight, it's out of mind, but then you're left with the bill for the rest, for the next 8 years or 7 years. Okay? So don't try to impress people with your car or things that you can't afford. Next, if you use credit cards, make sure to pay it off each month. Don't allow it to pile upon you. Next, they do accumulate fast. Yes, when you are behind in your credit card payment, they pile on you fast, and you can't call the credit card company and say, I can't pay, can you help me out? No, they're going to pile it on even more and more interest. So be careful what you're doing. So, because it can really get out of control. Moving on. A house should be the only exception. Most of us can never buy a house cash. So it's okay to buy your house on credit, because over time, that's one of the best and most powerful investments you can make, and wealth building thing. I don't listen to people who tell me not to buy a house and telling me to go rent. No, I don't believe in that, because over the years it has worked for me, where I have bought a house when I was living in my country, Jamaica, and that was how I got $1.4 million to come to Canada. And if I didn't have that money, I would not be qualified to come here with my family. And since I come to Canada, I bought a second house after moving out of people's basement, and that house almost doubled within 4 years in price. Sold it and buy myself another house. So I believe in buying house, because house help you to save and help you to, it's a forced saving when you pay a mortgage. Yeah, and most of the time house goes up in value. Even if there's a little downturn, after a while it goes back up. Okay? So a house should be the only exception to the rule. But you must also try to pay it off as much as you can, as fast as you can. Next, as far as possible, this should be the only debt you carry. Okay, I said that already. And you have an intention to pay it off ASAP, as soon as possible. Try not to enter into your retirement with your mortgage, because that is what is destroying a lot of people in Canada and all around the world. The United States, my country, Jamaica, people are going into retirement years with a debt, a mortgage. I know a lot of pastors cannot retire because they have to. They have a lot of debt carrying, and mortgage is one of them. And when you go into retirement these days, no matter what, the retirement check's just not making it again. Right? You may get a retirement check from your boss and from the government, and when you combine it, it still can carry you through. So we've got to be making every effort to pay off your mortgage as early as possible. Now, what keeps us poor is that we have one income, and from that one income, we have everything pulling on it. We get one income, one salary, one wage, And from it, you have to pay the food bill, the light bill, the heating bill, the water bill, the mortgage or the rent, the internet bill, the cable bill, cell phone bill, life insurance, auto insurance, home insurance, gas for your car, bus fare, credit card, etc., etc. This one salary that we get is pulling all these debt, these bills are pulling on them. And so what happened is that you end up always broke, even though you're working so darn hard. What makes some people financially independent? They avoid that big one, which is debt. Although you have some people, they take on debt, but the debt also brings them an income. So let's say you buy a house, investment house, that's a debt. You pay down a deposit, and then the bank, let's say you pay 20,000, the bank lend you 80,000, the house is for 100,000, so that's a debt. But sometimes you can rent out that house and you get in an income after you take out your expenses of your taxes and your insurance. You're left with something at the end of the month, so they call that cash flow. And so you have an asset that is producing some money. Okay, so those debts are good debt, but debt that you just go and you buy a lot of stuff and you max out your credit card to buy a lot of clothes and shoes and cars and bikes and this and that. Those things sometimes ruin you financially, right? So as much as possible, people must try to avoid debt if you want to be financially independent one day. Now, they have multiple sources of income. So people who are financially independent usually do not sit down and depend on just working for one income. They try to do other things, many other things, to get many sources of income. So you have checks coming in left, right, and center. And there are many things that we can do these days to get more than one income. So their income is more than their outgoes or their expenses. So people who become financially independent limit their expenses so that the income is always more than the expenses. So for example, they invest in rental properties, right? Or if you have a basement, you can rent it out. That's an income right there. Some people live in the basement and rent the rest of the house. That's an income coming there. Some people save up and buy a second property. Some will take the equity out of their home, buy a second property, etc., etc. Some people invest in stock in good solid companies like the blue chip companies, they call it, like banks and so on, and the established business who have a proven track record. Okay? And some people, when you do that, you earn dividends. For most of these blue chip company will give you a check every 3 months or so, some yearly, etc., etc. So that's what a lot of financially independent people do. I'm not going to say rich, because you don't have to be rich to be financially independent. You just need to cover all of your expenses and have a little left over consistently. Also, they invest in small businesses. So that's another way to become financially independent, by not just depending on one source, but you also invest in a little small business, maybe on the side with your job, etc., etc. These days, there's a lot of online things that people can do, and the education is out there. There's this website that is called Udemy, Udemy. It's a very good place where you can learn a skill. They'll teach you how to do online business, etc., etc., marketing, etc., etc. Next, they collect royalties from books or songs. So if you can write a song or write a book, and every one of us, they say, have a book in us. And when you write a book and you register it with some companies, you can get a royalty check every year or so on. Okay. Next, let me move on quickly. You never become financially independent if you depend on one income source. So, as I've said, I think that's repeating myself, so I don't have to go over it. Just don't depend on one source of income. Next, conclusion. So, in conclusion, avoid debt at all cost. Pay off your debt at all, as much as possible, so you can save more money. When you have no debt, that means you can save more. Don't borrow to pay loans that you borrow. That's one of the most foolish idea people do from time to time. They borrow to pay back loans. Then you're still just transferring the loan to somebody else. So don't borrow to pay. What you need is you need a second income. Maybe get another job or do something to earn some more income to pay down your loans, not borrow money to pay down money, because that's just transferring the debt. Okay, learn to trade stocks and foreign exchange. As much as the stock market is risky, if you learn trading secrets, you can make money on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, whatever it is. There's money to be made on the stock market. And I've never done foreign exchange trading, but I understand that it can be lucrative if you know what you're doing. But as always, I don't give financial advice. I just give financial education, because I'm a trained financial advisor, even though I'm not functioning as one now. But these are things that I have learned and been taught. And plus I do my research, and I am always interested in money, because I have learned that when you reach certain age, you will realize 3 of the most important thing in life is: number 1, God. You need God to live, and you need God when you die. I don't care whether God is a myth, or some people say he's a myth. I need Jesus, says he's the resurrection and the life. Well, I'd rather go into my grave with a little hope and it turns out to be false. There is no resurrection, there's no Jesus, there's no God. At least if I have nothing to lose, if I die believing that. But if it's true, then I have every reason to rejoice, because when that happens, then I am saved. But people who are stupid will reject God, reject the grace of God and Jesus Christ, and say there's no God and there's no Jesus, and I don't want to hear about him. Because he's not real. I pray to him and he doesn't answer my prayer, therefore he's not real. Well, that's your prerogative, my friend, but as for me, I want to have little hope wherever I go. When I live, I want to live in hope. When I die, I want to die with hope, because just in case God is real, just in case Jesus is real, I would have gained everything, eternal life, and that's the most important thing. So God is number 1. When you realize the importance of life. Number 2, family and friends is very important. Good friends are good to have, and family is very important, because imagine living in a house by yourself and no family. That ain't cool. Right? So family is one of the best. Is good to have good family members. Number 3. The third thing I realized that matters most when you're up in age is money. You know, if you need a loan or if you need to buy something, you can't go to anyone and say, you know, I have a degree in this or a degree in that. Nobody's asking you for your degrees. I've never gone to buy a house or a car or anything and say, and I took my bachelor's degree in theology and say, hey, I have my degree, so I'm entitled to get some money. So it is not our degree that matters, our education that matters, even though education is important because ignorance is really more costly. But our degrees does not get us any money. What matters is they'll ask you, How is your finances? How much, what do they call it now? Oh Lord, what's the name? What's the word? Yeah, how much money do you have after your expenses? I forgot. The word is slipping me right now. But that is what the banks will look at. That is what lenders look at. Your financial situation, your financial statement is what they look at. Okay. So that was going off track a bit, although it was relevant. So don't just save, but invest. So some people just put their money in a savings account, and that money just maybe give you $1 every year, or $2 every year, or so, or $100 every year. No, but when you invest money, you make more money. So it's a proven thing that you invest rather than just save your money. Alright, so I use my bank account to put money to do my expenses, but in terms of if I have any extra, I put it in the stock market, or I look for any opportunity. It's always good to look out for opportunities. Alright, take charge of your finances and don't let it take charge of you. Right, so don't leave it to somebody and don't leave it to itself. You have to take charge of your finances. Be in charge of your own destiny. And my book, I'm working on it, so look out for my book. Alright, so be in charge of your own destiny. Take charge of your life. The end. Hope that you enjoy it. Subscribe, leave a comment, share this information, because a lot of people not getting this in school. This is worth more than $10,000. If people follow these principles, they will be better off financially. And sometimes you go to school, you spend $40,000, $50,000, and the education that you get doesn't get you more than to work for people. But if you follow these principles, one day you can be financially independent. Thank you everybody for tuning in to my show and to my channel. Leave a comment, share, and give a like and a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, yeah, give me the thumbs down, although I hate them, but it's all good. Yeah, take care of yourself. Peace and God bless. Bye-bye.
Yeah, everything is piling up and I know you feeling stressed. You got a long list of things to deal with: mortgage, student loan, credit card, car debts. It's time to rise up, no more living check to check. Yeah, hurting the nation and breaking up homes. You deserve to retire and live the life you want. Build wealth, talking saving and investing. Can't be a slave to the corporations, trust me. Yeah, it's time to fulfill your dream now. Tune in, we gon' break it down and show you how. Yeah, it's time to fulfill your dream now. Tune in, we gon' break it down and show you how. You deserve to retire with dignity. You deserve freedom and security. You deserve to retire with dignity. You deserve freedom and security. They don't wanna see you win, nah, they ain't with it. Don't wanna see you independent with your own business. Soaring to the next level, we gon' take it from the US up to Canada. Let's do it major, ayy. Yeah, it's time to fulfill your dream now. Tune in, we gon' break it down and show you how. Yeah, it's time to fulfill your dream now. Tune in, we gon' break it down and show you how. Own a house, buy land, and invest. You don't wanna spend your life stuck living on the edge. They say debt equals bondage, and it never ends. Be your own boss, yeah, it's time to make them dividends. When the money gets low and the times get tougher, you don't ever wanna struggle. It's time that you hustle. Foreclosures and financial disaster, no need to be embarrassed, let's be some financial masters. Yeah, don't let it break you down. There's always a way to make it, we gon' show you how. 9 to 5, it will only get you so far. Time to be your own boss and retire when you want. Yeah, yeah, woo. It's time to fulfill your dream now. Tune in, we gon' break it down and show you how. Hey, it's time to fulfill your dream now. Tune in, we gon' break it down and show you how.